Hello guys, welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, I'm gonna show you how the CT defense on Ancient actually works in CS2. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. By the way, we are doing free giveaways every month. In these giveaways, you can win various CS2 skins and free CS2 course access passes created by a Faceit level 10 coach who has experience in high tier CS2 teams. To sign up, simply visit the CS2 post giveaway page and follow the instructions. Link is in the description. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. So firstly, let's begin by talking about spawns. On Ancient CT side, there is a total of 5 spawns. That means that every round, one of the CTs will get one of the each spawns. Let's break the spawns down one by one. This is the first spawn. This spawn is usually meant for the B players who are playing towards cave. With this spawn, you can instantly run towards this area, towards B side through the CT ramp, and then as you run, you can rather throw a quick Molotov towards ramp for your ramp player, as so. As you run here, you instantly throw the Molotov and instantly run towards cave, and then as you run here, you focus towards cave, and then you can rather stay in this position simply and hold the position, or you can do several other factors. For example, if you didn't throw a Molotov towards ramp, then in the start of the round you can instantly throw a molly here if you want to play extra safe, which you definitely can do because it's not your priority to hold this position. But if you do want to help out your teammate, then you can definitely throw the Molotov as well. But depending on how you want to do it, and if you are expecting someone to push B really quickly, then you can definitely throw a Molotov here instead, and then you can just hold this position from this area. What I found is that this corner is the best one because you're not open to several angles, because once you're holding here, you're open to the left peak and the right peak at the same time. Even though it is the start of the round, if it goes in later on, then I don't suggest you hold this angle. For me, the best angle is to hold this area or leave a slight gap like so you see anyone crossing towards heaven, so you can call for your teammates. And if you really want, you can definitely spam through the wall. But however, if you want to play a bit more safer, you can also play in the very edge of this corner where the exit is towards the cave side, and then you can just hold the position like so, and after some time, then you can just go back to the left corner and re-smoke this area and just play it passively. After some time, when the clock starts to fade and you have around a minute or 50 seconds left, then you can move back and play a bit more passively if you want, because if you're expecting someone to push to you or you have no info where the enemies are, then I suggest you play a bit more back. You should play around this area, however make sure that the ramp position is smoked, because if it's not, then the T's might spot you from this corner if they're holding it like so. So if you want the best positions towards this area, here they are. Playing in this corner is good if you have a low amount of T's alive, because most of the time all the T's don't push towards the same corner, so you will definitely have at least one T running through, so you will just instantly get a free kill because most of the time the T's don't even spot you here. And another good position is standing around this area, because this is the most common position that the CTs love to stand in. This is one of the best corners as well, and I definitely recommend you hold them. Another good position is standing on top of this box. However, it's very expected, so I wouldn't recommend playing in it, because most of the time it gets cleared, and it gets cleared very difficultly because the T's love to peek and jump and bounce off the edge of this wall, and once they do, they really mess up their momentum. However, since of that, it becomes really difficult for you to hit your shots because their head starts moving and their entire body starts to shake. So for me, this position is a bit too risky, and you can say that the same thing goes for this position. However, you are a bit further away, so it's way easier to manage your crosshair. And if you want to check cave manually from time to time, you can also stand behind the pillar and then move back and quickly check it like so. If you want to do that, then it's also a very good idea, but make sure, as I said, not to stand too close, because then you might get spotted from these players from here. Now let's move on to the second spawn. This is the second spawn, and the second spawn player is usually one of the players who rather goes towards middle or goes towards B. It's really up to the teammates. However, what I found is that it's way better to go towards B from the spawn because it's still slightly closer, so you quickly run towards this area, and you can do it two ways here, because you're going to be the player who's going to hold ramp. So in the start of the round, if your teammate, as I said, does a molly ramp, then you molly yourself manually, and then you can rather play from several positions. For example, you can rather play towards this area behind the side. If your cave teammate is standing really deep in towards cave, you can stand towards this area. You can also stand towards this corner. However, make sure that you don't get mollied, because this is a very easy angle to molly and cover off, and you can definitely get spammed through this wall like so. So from my personal experience, I suggest you should play in long instead, because this corner is way better off in the start of the round. So in the start, you just quickly molly off the ramp, and then you go back instantly and run around. Since the Molotov, the teams most likely won't push, and if they do, you still have a huge range that you can aim through. So once you peek out here, you instantly pull out your weapon and hold the position for a few seconds, just in case you check that no one pushes out towards the B ramp. And then you just instantly run forward, and you can rather play in this corner. My personal favorite position is standing here, and from time to time just quickly peeking out. However, it is a bit risky, so make sure that you don't do it too often. And if you just want to quickly smoke off the ramp, instead you can just bounce it off this wall like so, just throwing it against the wall, bounces off, quickly smokes this entire area, and you're very safe from it, so you don't have to really peek. And then if you want to play a bit more passively, you can also stand in this corner like so, and then just hold a position from here. You can also stay a bit back closer to this side of the wall, so you have close cover. And if you're standing a bit back, then you won't be spotted from any snipers who are standing on top of this box, so you can just stand here in the corner. And then once you have 1 or 2 kills, you can instantly jump through, quickly jump through behind this cover, and just play it safely and play the retake. As a ramp player, you can sometimes risk it as well by, if you throw the Molotov towards ramp, you can also go towards cave with your teammate and just quickly stack together and try to take the control of cave. Or if you want to take the control of middle, you can also smoke this area. However, this is very deep into detail, and it's more of an aggressive play, so I'm not really going to get into that too deeply. However, if you want to do it, you can definitely go with your teammate towards double cave and then stack it. Once you have the full control of cave covered, then you can come back and hold the position from side like so. It's also a very good option. However, in my opinion, still holding the control of long and having it is way better than just leaving it open, so the T's can sometimes shift through if they get a timing on you. And this position is instantly better because you instantly can see way faster if anyone is standing in the B ramp. Now let's move on to the third position. The third position is going to be definitely the middle position. This player will definitely go towards mid, and in the start of the round, you should definitely go towards this area, and you could rather do it two ways. You can rather molly heaven in the start of the round, but since you're going to be the middle player, you're going to be way closer towards the bottom mid part, so instantly I suggest throwing a Molotov against this wall like so, and then you can rather position yourself in towards the corner of donut and then hold this position, wait for a few seconds, and then only you focus towards this area. Or instead, after you throw the Molotov, you can instantly go towards this corner. However, I wouldn't recommend it because this corner gets mollied oftenly and really gets cleared easily, and you don't have any rotations after you get pressured. So in my opinion, a way better position is going to be to play backside towards the red room, because then you can focus on both of the positions safely and easily. But out of all these positions, definitely in my opinion, the best position is going to be to go towards donut, since you have the closest spawn to it. Now let's move on to the fourth player. This player is also going to be a mid player, and he's going to also support his mid player because they're going to be a duo that's going to be covering the entire area of mid. So if your teammate mollies out the bottom of mid, then you can rather throw the double molly and stack it up together. Or instead, in the start, you can just instantly throw a Molotov against Heaven's wall like so and molly off Heaven just so you prevent any pushes instantly. If both of your teammates agree to play aggressively towards the top of mid, then both of you can just instantly play together towards the top of mid and play more aggressively. Since this position is going to be smoked, but I'm going to talk about that a bit later. And once you have this smoked, then you can instantly play a bit more aggressive towards Heaven as well. That's why it's not a bad idea if you do play aggressive towards the bottom of mid. However, make sure that you do have the control of elbow. This brings me to my fifth spawn player. This is going to be the A player, but in the start of the round, he's going to have to use his smoke to smoke off the elbow smoke in the start of the round. This is the most instant smoke that you can do and the fastest way to smoke elbow. So in the start of the round, he's going to look at this brick against the roof, and then he's going to look at this U shape and aim on the top of it and shift for a 1 second, and then he's just gonna instantly jump throw. This smoke is gonna perfectly land in towards the area of elbow and cover it fully. So with the smoke, then your mid defense becomes really easy because you have it covered off, and with the Molotov you cover off and prevent any other pushes. So if you throw a double molly like this, for example, you prevent anyone pushing, and the only corner that you have to clear really is gonna be this right corner deeply if you don't throw a deep enough Molotov. And then once you have this control, then you and your teammate can play aggressive towards Heaven as well. However, moving back to the A spawn player, this is gonna be an instant smoke that he will throw every single round. So after he throws the smoke lineup, he's gonna instantly run in towards A side, and in the start he's gonna rather Molotov this area. And keep in mind that one of the mid players will have to drop a smoke for him throwing the insta smoke. So after he throws it, he quickly needs to pick it up, and then he needs to run towards this area, and after he throws the Molotov, then he can play in several positions. he can rather play in the backside of here like so. He can also play in this corner, or he can get boosted up manually by jumping up this area and getting on top of this spot. He can also play back of temple if he wants like so, or he can play in the default area, which in my opinion is the best area to hold A side from, because you have a lot of easy rotations and you're not far off from your teammates. So this position in my opinion is the best one, but if you want you can use the other positions as well. And as time goes, when the molly fades or some time passes, you can instantly throw a smoke to resmoke the A main, and then you have a clear defense on A side. Now let's talk about the op. As the second spawn player, a really good idea is to play with the op because you can hold this angle really easily and manage it really fully. You can also hold it from a further range and short if you want, if you don't want any extra peaks, if you want to hold one angle and only one, but because in this scenario you're going to be holding two angles because you're going to be focused on the bottom part and the top part of the boost. And if you want to play a bit more safely, then you can definitely play in short. In middle, it's also a really good idea if one of you, mainly the player who is going to play in the red room, plays towards this area with the op. If he does, then it's a very good strat because you can micromanage both of the angles and they're both really long range, so it's really effective if you definitely want to do it. And you can also stand in the left corner if you want a bit of a close range and you're more focused towards the bottom part of middle than heaven itself. And the A player is also a very good player for the op because he can just hold the position really clearly. He can just hold it like so, and after he gets one kill he can move back. He has this large cover of the box. He can also jump up towards temple and hold this area as well, and he can also play in default with the op. It's also a very good strat. However, make sure for the boost because if they boost up you might not spot them with the scope. And you can also play a bit back. However, keep in mind that usually this position gets smoked, so make sure you have a nade to counter it, for example. So overall, the op is very crucial for these three positions and I definitely recommend you use them. You can definitely switch it up from time to time, but in my opinion you shouldn't have more than two ops in a singular game on CT Defense Ancient, because once you have one, it's already enough since you can hold one position really clearly, and the op can definitely rotate through several positions. For example, if the mid player has the op, he can rotate towards B side really easily. Same goes for the A side. He can also hold this long range position as I said previously. Just make sure to have a nade as well, and he can also hold the entire mid. So it's a very good position and it's overall the best position to play with the op. But you can also have a second player if you want to hold towards A side, for example, or holding B side ramp, for example. It's really up to you. However, in my opinion, as I said, don't buy more than two ops, and already one is enough. Thank you everyone for watching the video. This was how the CT defense works on Ancient. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and comment down in the comments below on what you want us to do next, and I'll see you in the next video.